the other guy, it's it definitely sort of doubles down on the interest in. Like, it was cute and fun up to this point.
Yeah.
And this is where things get a little bit more interesting.
Start to cohese a bit more, formulate a bit more of a story. No?
Not
Okay.
really. Just more questions, actually.
All right, cool.
So, yeah. Well, when you think about it, it's it hasn't really posed anything.
I mean, there's a little bit going on with Yatra himself potentially being like a spirit of a lonely child that was bullied.
Yeah, don't you love that?
Maybe.
The exposition sort of happens at the very start, and then it just sort of goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up until where you're up to now, and then it starts to change up a bit.
We are talking about Yatra, one of the Manga Plus titles on Shueisha's lineup. Oh, Nerdburger, it's fine. We forgive you. We were actually on time today.
I know. This is insane. 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Welcome to episode 92 of Read This Way. Manga news. We'll be talking about a little bit of speculation that I haven't even told Logan yet.
No, I love it.
His blind reaction.
And I am damn blind.
So, starting off, Shueisha and Renown are developing a project based on a weekly Shonen Jump series that ended 15 plus years ago and still ranks among top fan requested titles for animation, according to Total License. No other details have been revealed. However, people are speculating that it's gonna be my jam, Siren.
Look at
fucking. Oh!
We have been talking about this for a little while. Hey, Jack.
Oh.
A while, like since we started doing this. Siren's always been like a top tier title for us because it's
like the forgotten one of the big three because it got swallowed up by the big three.
Well, this is the thing, right? It was the Jujutsu Kaisen of its day, where it was never 100%. Meant to be a long running series, but it never, unlike Jujutsu, it didn't get the popularity that it should have. Honestly, it probably had a few more volumes in it. Not that it finished terribly, but it felt like it could have had just a little bit more, and it would have been a proper classic.
From memory, it was like you said, they were heading into that final arc, but then respectfully got tapped on the shoulder to wrap it up, and it doesn't feel edited down in any way like you are missing out, but it does feel a little rushed just because the pacing doesn't match the rest of the series, but it's literally only for the last maybe book and a half, maybe two.
Yeah.
But you can tell that he got to wrap up everything that he wanted in the short time that they allowed for the wrap up. But damn, it was such a cool series.
This gets the same treatment as this Black Cat series. This is going to be something else. Black Cat?
What was I thinking?
I don't know if that's the right name. Actually, I don't think it's Black Cat. It might be something else. It needs attention. This is the thing: is this series will need attention, and it will need a good studio behind it that can reproduce that sort of 90s vibe that encapsulates it.
they've in saying that, with the current reanimation of or resurgence of Bleach, like 1,000 Year Blood War arc, it's shown that even just bringing something from that era forward to today's contemporary standards, it doesn't diminish the original work. If anything, it just goes to show how much the industry has changed in the last 20 years.
Yes. Yeah. And it's I guess the popularity of this older stuff is coming to show that we're sick and tired of the saturation that's happened in the market over the past 10 years. Like it's gone bananas. The sheer volume of content, let's call it content because that's what it kind of feels like a lot of the time. Sheer volume of content that's shoved in our face every season, with like 10% of it actually being any good. And you know, when you've had that volume at you for such a long period of time, when you get the taste of what it used to be like, or a series that has been lovingly crafted and finished to a point that it's going to show differently, and the studios and the masterminds behind this are now going, oh, how do we make money out of this? How can we draw more cash out of something that's technically dead in the water and it's not making us any more money? But now they have the facility to do this. They can take these old titles that still sell once in a while, you know, if they were in circulation. I don't think Siren is in circulation anymore. But I don't think it is, especially not the earlier volumes of it. But it's just another way. You know, I want to say it's because it was a great series and it deserves an anime, and it definitely deserves the recognition that it should get. But on the flip side, the studios are only doing this because they can't make money from it without doing this. So
at the end of the day,
it's
going to be it's an advertisement for a completed dead series, hoping for a resurgence, because everyone's been screaming for an adaptation for it for the last 15 plus years.
And give us a good, proper release. Like, give us a large format release. You know, give us a Viz signature or something like that. That's a bit better.
Actually, it looks like Viz have kept at least
kept it in circulation.
Kept it in circulation, yeah. And it's pretty cheap. Like, it's only $10.
Well, that's probably because it's old print. So
just having a quick look to see,
because this series predates the volume of popularity globally, so it's missed that marker.
It was pretty much at the beginning of it was like 2011.
Yeah, just when
over here
One Piece was shooting off and Bleach was shooting off, and you know, Dragon Ball was in full swing. They're the titles that we would see in the English world that made manga and anime popular, but titles like Siren, which was spectacular, kind of didn't crop up as much, which is a shame.
I would like to rescind my praise of Viz.
It's not in circulation anymore, is it?
It looks like you can still get it through Amazon, which kind of hurts.
It'll be digital.
Nah, paperback as well.
Secondhand paperback.
Possibly secondhand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love for the series to be experienced for a new generation.
Definitely.
I read it for only the first time. What was it, like 3 years ago, or thereabouts?
Yeah, I reckon it was just before we started. the channel. So
and it holds up still. Like it
yeah,
is really, really good.
I remember reading it. I want to say it was about 15 years ago when I read it. And it was at that point I'd read it, and the forums were alight at that point with people defending it, people hating on it. Like it was really active in the forum environment because it was one of those series that divided people quite heavily. A lot of people loved it, and a lot of people disliked it. And I don't understand the disliking side of it. What actually happened for people there? Because I know it was not perfect, but it's got some really, really great concepts, and did a lot
I
of things
wouldn't
really well.
be I wouldn't be opposed for, so long as they get the like mangaka in to help. I wouldn't be opposed for them fleshing it out a little bit, like giving it a proper adaptation. So then you give people a reason then to go out and buy the book as well.
Slap some new art on the front, and you'll have people buying
Similar
it.
to like what we're getting with the All You Need Is Kill animation from
Mm,
Science Horror.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's Science Horror, and it's going to be quite different to the manga
Yeah.
because we're following the girl or the woman in the series.
I wonder if we'll have a POV shift halfway through. That'd be interesting to like
Um,
tell the story chronologically as opposed to having a flashback for
I don't know.
Rita. That's it.
Yeah, I'd have to read the original book to actually say yay or nay.
Yeah, it's
It's
been
in
a
my
little
shopping
while for me.
cart. The original novel's in my shopping cart. Sitting there, along with
but that
Vampire.
is pretty much that's the speculation news. I saw that
Mm.
literally just before going live, and I was like, "There's no way," and then continue reading, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa."
Yeah. Look, it's definitely something I would not be opposed to. I'd be super happy if they did it, but I'm not getting my hopes up.
I want to live blissfully excited, at least for now. So
Mm.
join me in being deluded into thinking we're going to get an anime for
There is
Siren.
nothing wrong with hope. We can have hope, and definitely,
Like I said, speculation,
yeah.
grain of salt, but it'd be super cool, and I'm choosing to be excited by the even potential of news of Siren in 2025.
Just to have the name crop back up in the
Yeah,
industry, to have it being put to a new community of people, because now that that's there and that speculation's out, there'll be more people interested in it, and they'll be out looking to purchase the book. So hopefully, Viz puts it back in circulation, and we see it again.
I'm gonna have to have a look when I go to work next. I'll jump online and see what the go is. If there is any supplier we can get it through.
Yeah,
I
a
think
collection would
that'll
be
be
nice.
my next collector. Yeah,
Yeah, a
if I can get
collection
my
box
hands
would
on
be
it.
nice. You can get them online, like secondhand on eBay and stuff like that, but they're still few and far between.
Just to reiterate as well, it's not like the speculation is completely unfounded. Just by going
Mm.
what they've announced and the fact that Siren has been in the top 10 of manga we want to see animated pretty much the last 15 years.
Yeah,
Like at least for the last 5 that I've been keeping an eye on that list. It ranks always somewhere towards the bottom half of the top 10, but it's always there. Like
yeah.
6 to 10, it fluctuates a bit depending on. Um, it was insane to see Kagurabachi on 2024's so soon, but
you know why though? People are just
well,
hungry for that action. They just are.
The only 3 Shonen Jump titles that were on there was Kagurabachi, Kindergarten Wars, and Siren. Of 2024, those were the 3 like Japan-wide manga that were wanting to be animated.
I think Kindergarten Wars would translate pretty well. It's got that combination of cute and action that people love. Definitely.
We did get a new trailer for Sakamoto Days, Core 2, coming out July 14th.
Next few episodes.
I'm looking forward to this. I forgot how early this was.
Yeah.
This is where Nagumo really shines. We get to see old man. I always forget his name.
Old Sword Man.
Yeah, Old Sword Man. And like all the 4 escaped prisoners are all absolutely unhinged, crazy people. And I just remember reading this one briefly.
I completely forgot about those guys.
With it, right? The dude just crushes everything into a small ball. I'm really looking forward to seeing these guys animated.
Really cool fights, yeah.
Seeing X back again, it'd be really cool. Also, fun fact. Whatever.
It is.
The English voice actor for Nagumo is the same voice actor for Jinu Sun in Solo Leveling.
Oh, okay.
This is just him softer and more playful. He's got a pretty good range. I'm enjoying the dude as a voice actor.
Yeah,
plus he has a lot of fun with the social side of it.
Yeah, he seems to keep the lighter side of the world plodding along. He's less focused on whether people are going to like his performance as opposed to whether he does it justice himself and feels that he's done it justice. So I'm all for him loving his craft and doing it correctly. And his voice acting for Nagumo is good. It's spot on. It's exactly what you want to hear.
There's been a couple of behind the scenes. Actually, I think we saw it last week after the podcast. I think it was on one of. Wait, was it Viz? No, I don't know. One of the YouTube channels related to Shonen Jump had a behind. It might have even been Netflix anime. Now that I think about it. Behind the scenes with a lot of the voice actors from Sakamoto Days. It was really fun and insightful peek behind the curtain.
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
Nue's Exorcist is holding 2 special projects to commemorate its 2nd anniversary. Don't know what they are, but they're going to be 2 special projects. It could be like the shoe collaboration that happened with Sakamoto Days.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the music collaboration as well.
Yeah, Sakamoto did that music collab, didn't he?
Yeah, I think that was with Vaundy.
Can't remember who it was. That's a possibility. That is a possibility.
By the sounds of it, they're part of the promotion that they're running is going to be the first 26 chapters are going to be free to read, but unclear as to which platform they're like running that promotion through. In the similar vein to what we've just been talking about, Sakamoto Days is getting the cover page and lead color page next Shonen Jump issue, along with Blue Exorcist. That's the wrong thing. I just combined the 2 titles. Blue Box, Ultimate Exorcist, Yoshi, and Tomoshibi will be getting color pages in the same issue, as well as I think maybe Otia might be getting another one.
I don't know. We'll talk about that in a bit further along. I hope so. I hope there's another color page for that.
Oh, apparently the mangaka behind Kyoshi is ex Oda assistant.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Nice. But really, who hasn't been an Oda assistant at this point?
Nah, that's true.
Gotta die for One Piece, remember?
The One Piece fan letter will be releasing a complete guidebook on the. It's going to have the original after story written by Momoka Toyota, the one who led the One Piece fan letter project, as well as a original girl ex Nami poster, illustrated by Oda as well. Hopefully, we get this. We seem to be getting a lot more of the merchandise stuff, which kind of turns into my next little story about we've kind of got Toho, big animation studio, has recently slammed Crunchyroll for their practices, and by extension Sony, because Sony is the parent company now that they own practically everything, and they haven't been impressed with their own products, as well as the products of others, and the mishandling of Dandadan at the end of 2024. They've basically come out and slammed them about being pretty much insanely lackluster, about just resting on their laurels, and
the
will be
crazy
taking
thing
their
is,
business elsewhere.
Yeah, the crazy thing is I didn't realize that Dan was on Crunchyroll.
Yeah,
I thought
no one
it
did.
was a Netflix exclusive.
Yep.
Because of the way Netflix handled that, they would, they were pushing that everywhere. And I guess maybe Crunchyroll just didn't feel like they could compete with that. But regardless, does it matter? They should have done something.
I mean, to be fair to Crunchyroll, I don't think it was a targeted thing for Dan. They just suck in general.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like devil's advocate here, but they don't really do.
Into the choir.
They don't really do advertisement much. They're just happy to rake in the money. And
well, this is
the
thing,
other side of this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that they are practically on a global scale the only people we can really go to for anime outside of Japan.
Well, that was part of what they said, was calling them out, was that they have this monopoly, especially in the West, and they've kind of squandered a lot of it as well. The way that they've also come out and said that the way that the industry seems to work en masse, there could very well be outliers, but they do what is referred to as a master license, which sounds like they get paid once, and then that's pretty much it. And then they move on and can start working on their next project. I'm assuming they also get the local contracts where they sell it to the whatever networks they have locally in Japan, and making merchandise internally. But the master license, from what it sounds like in the article or the statement by Toho is that any merchandise that happens in the West is all funneled back through whoever has the master license, essentially.
Yeah. So anything official has to be through Crunchyroll, right?
And the money doesn't go back to Toho or whoever
No.
made it. It's now officially just official merch for whoever's bought the license, which feels wrong.
It must be the way they do things in Japan, which would explain why studios are always struggling for money, I guess, because they don't seem to comprehend. And it's probably
Yeah,
because in Japan you do a master license because it covers all of Japan, right? You
yeah,
sell it to a network or the likes of, and they have the rights to display it, and they don't have to worry about areas or localization or any of that sort of stuff. Whereas when you go international, you've got licensing in every country. You
yeah,
can go ahead and you can sell that license to uh, a particular, release agent in that area, and it doesn't have to be Crunchyroll. Anybody can purchase it. Any streaming service can purchase it, which is, here in Australia, we have a nightmare, absolute freaking nightmare of stuff going on, where we would have series that might have run for like 5 seasons. We'd have 2 seasons on one streaming service and 3 seasons on another streaming service because of the way the licensing system works
yeah.
and who bought what and who has the right to display what. So I think we're going to be seeing more of this happening on a global scale, which is kind of both bad and good for us. Like
Yeah,
it's going to make it more difficult to source the content, but it's also going to mean that we're going to see more. I feel like we're going to see more stuff being released as opposed to what Crunchyroll deem worthy. And let's face it, Crunchyroll is Sony, and Sony's in cahoots with Shueisha. So realistically, they're always going to be pushing the Shueisha-based anime on an overseas level. Like you look at the popularity of everything. You ask anybody who's an anime fan what their favorite anime is, and chances are it's going to be a Shueisha title.
yeah.
Because it's been pushed out there so much. Yet we're
I
missing out
mean,
on so much stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Look,
they have the king tied down.
yeah, you call him the king, but not everybody does. He's not
Yeah,
my
and
not my
whoever doesn't is incorrect. Obviously, you're entitled to your
Look,
incorrect
a man
opinion.
has gone to war for less. I don't know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you talk to anybody in the English speaking world, they all know One Piece, right?
Yeah,
Because it's everywhere. And I get it. It's a big IP that people love and will continue to share for 1,000 years. That's just how it goes. And that's fine by me. I don't mind that, but I want to see all the other stuff as well. I don't just want to
yeah,
see one
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And I feel like the release that that they're putting out there at the moment, they just don't have. They're missing a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, it is getting better. We are getting a lot more, but there is still a lot.
we're getting there. We're getting there. But living on the high seas, there's so much stuff I see that will never ever make its way here. Simply because Crunchyroll don't deem it as being an option, and neither do Netflix, and neither do any of the other streaming services. It
I
would
guess
be
with
great to see a service just crop up.
I guess that's where like websites for manga preservation, like manga
Mm.
decks, are good resources to have if something isn't available to you.
The option's there.
Yeah,
You don't get to miss out. You have the option to take it up. Say there's a manga series that is about to get an awesome anime adaptation, but it's out of print. It has been for 15 years, and you want to read it. There's only one place to read it.
Well, digitally, there's actually you can.
Okay.
It's in.
You can purchase it.
There's quite a few places for that one, actually.
Yeah. No, well, I wasn't specifically saying that one, but I'm just saying in general that there is a lot of material out there that we are not seeing because they don't think we should.
Well, they don't think it will sell. Is probably the biggest one.
Well, yeah, but who decides that? Like the most insane stuff becomes popular when you just don't expect it to be.
That's also leads into, I guess, back into Dan. If you're vocal enough about wanting something, and there are a lot of like-minded people wanting the same thing, they will get off their ass and localize that shit. They didn't think Dan was going to hit. We weren't going to get a English translation. There was like 5, 6 to 10 chapters out. There was quite a few chapters out before they were forced to do a localization because people wanted to see what another Fujimoto alum would be producing.
Yeah.
2, when everyone saw what they were producing, they were like, holy shit, you need to see this. And the outcry of essentially wanting the product drove it to be localized. And then it steamrolled from there. Snowballed.
Yeah, I guess. Snowballed, steamrolled.
From there.
I mean, they steamrolled it to be snowballed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting. I remember watching that one as it was all happening. It was fun. Yeah. Watching the fandom essentially be like, "Hey, nah, give us," and it didn't take them that long. Like, I think there was like 5 or 6 chapters out, and then it maybe took them another 5 weeks after that, like 10 to 12 chapters total, and there was an English official translation.
Yeah, and we got a fair drop. I think they dropped about 5 or 6 chapters in one hit, if I remember correctly, because it was not there, and then suddenly there was a collection of a few chapters.
The weirdest one was that it was all on Manga Plus, but it only came over to the Viz Shonen Jump app. Well, first it was on the website. You had to go over to there because it was deemed mature,
explicit,
and would have breached something, their age rating, I believe it was. And only officially came to the app when the anime dropped, or a little bit before, I think it was.
Yeah. Which
the rollout for it's been really interesting. No.
Yeah.
Plus, there's like 12 official volumes now, with more to come.
Yeah, and I think that's Viz being a 50% American company as well. Them driving the concept that cartoons and comic books are for children. So having that mature content just shouldn't be allowed to be accessible without some sort of restriction.
Yeah, but it's not that hard.
No,
so like got a drinking problem. I just like spilled water all over myself.
No, but you're right. It's not that hard, and they could put everything on there. They could put all, because digital stuff doesn't cost them anything. It costs them the translation, and that's it. And I tell you what, they seem to love using AI for this shit anyway. So it's not costing them a cent.
Yeah. Although I think a lot of the AI backlash, because it's been noticeable when it's been used. So there's been a bit of a backlash, and they've just quietly walked that shit back.
I think they have, I don't know if you're familiar with the Shueisha connect universe function. I don't know if it's on the app or not. So Manga Plus Universe is a forum for people to get on and talk about the manga and all that sort of stuff, but it's international.
Thank you. You reminded me of the other Sony thing that we needed to talk about.
Yeah. It's international, and what they've done is this was rolled out last year, I think it was. Yeah, mid last year. They used AI to translate. So people are coming from all different countries, but when you put your what you want to say on the website, it then gets translated to all the other countries. So when the person goes onto it, it's localized. The entire website is localized just for them. Very much like Google Translate style stuff.
Yeah. No,
so of course there's going to be some hit and miss. But my issue is they've seen this technology and gone, oh, well, what else can we do with it?
Yeah. See, that's
save
where
money?
AI, I feel, works to bring us together. And then it, like you said, it's one step too far in one direction.
Yeah.
Which one compromises the overall product, and two puts people out of a job.
Yeah.
And potentially destroys a craft.
Potentially, but the thing is it's just one company.
Yeah.
But if that company makes it a success, then other companies will follow suit. So as long as we tear down the first guy, it's okay.
Before I forget, there's a couple things, more things to get to, but so found out about this one earlier today. There has been a recent acquisition of My Anime List, which is another community forum based website that's been probably the closest thing to a review. It's like Rotten Tomatoes mix IMDb, but solely for anime. And it was always a pretty good comprehensive database of everything that has been produced, who's worked on it, in terms of production, in terms of voice acting. It was usually pretty involved. So it's recently been sold. Who was it to again?
Sony.
Well, yeah, it was. Yeah, but on paper, it was like
the company that oh yes, the subsidiary.
Yeah.
Who purchased it was one second. Here we are.
While you're looking up, so
Gordy,
they're involved.
Gordy.
They're involved. What is it? Sorry.
Gordy FanLink.
Cool. That makes sense. They are. So they're involved in AI. They're involved in Bitcoin, blockchain, NFTs, all that fun shit. And up the chain, don't know how far up, probably not very, is Sony. And both of them are coming and saying that they are looking forward to building a community, which everyone in response was basically, we already have one, you don't need to build anything, just don't touch it. But we always know that that's not how it works, and they're probably going to touch it.
So it's owned, from what I can tell, 50-50 by Sony and Bandai Namco, which is one of the scariest combinations in the entertainment industry for anime you could think of. Like, those two companies alone would own such a vast volume.
Not only anime, but gaming as well.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Like, the entertainment industry
the only,
in Japan, that
those
is
are the
like
two big ones.
Yeah. It's insane, the sheer scale. Like, and there was,
I love the shit they produce, but this is starting to get ridiculous.
This is starting to, because they've seen what Disney did, and they're going, oh, we want to be Disney. Time to start consuming everyone, and let's go.
Oh, they they also popped up on our news radar. I don't think it'll be anything anime related. It seems to be all their older Disney
Yes,
properties. I got
this
stuck on
was really
products.
interesting. Well, it is. It's a product
um,
for them. They don't
yeah, I
sell
know, but
IP.
it feels gross.
Yeah, yeah,
um, well, I mean, like, yeah, different time, different era. Basically, is what it boils down to.
yeah.
Um, a lot of racist and stereotype uh, things were reflected in a lot of Disney's animations.
Almost all Disney animation.
Yep.
They've
Like, you
yeah,
think old school Looney Tunes is bad? I mean,
yeah.
parts of it are, but
Yes,
nothing
but
on
Looney
Disney.
Tunes was satire. They knew
Yeah,
they were making fun, whereas
yeah,
Disney stuff thought they were making fun, but they were being relatively serious at the same time. It was never tongue in cheek with them, and this is what I
yeah.
disliked about it. All their references to, the Asian culture and
Oh
the
my god!
American, yeah,
I haven't seen the Aristocrats, and that is just blatant, like,
yeah. It's like,
anti-Asian.
yeah, it's
Like,
really brutal.
wow.
It's pretty intense. Uh, and
Like, shit would not fly now. Anyway,
no,
the
no,
whole
you'd be getting
point
cancelled.
was that in Australia, we had warnings essentially that came up before you were allowed to view these things, because they were, like, basically doing damage control. They were like,
Yeah.
we want to put it on there as part of our catalog. A lot of the older generation will want it. Here it is,
We
but
Yes.
are you
We
sure?
we we understand it's culturally inappropriate, but we made it, so you're gonna watch it. So here it
Which,
is,
weirdly
and
enough, now it's kind of it's old enough now that it's a period piece, ironically, that we should not sweep under the rug. It should be
no.
preserved. And
Yeah.
I believe, with those warning cards, to, like, not as some woke or anything like that, which it because I bring that up because this is tying into Trump and
Mm.
his rollback of the DEI initiatives, and because Disney's an American company, this is all wrapped up in that. It's just good to know where you've come from so you don't repeat the same mistakes.
Yeah, which they're about to.
Oh yeah.
Because 'Cause they're trying to
Um
erase the history. They're trying to erase history so they can repeat the history, is what's going on. But it was just fascinating that it was there and then it wasn't. Like Disney felt it was appropriate to remove it.
yeah. I don't know.
If it's
It
already
feels
up there,
weird.
why remove it just
It,
because
you
you could?
literally could have done nothing and it could have
Exactly.
just stayed there.
It was not illegal for them to put it up there. It was not, they could have left it there and just forgotten it, and just it was there to keep people
Like, no
happy.
one cared about it anymore. It wasn't even in America. It was solely over here in, like, Australia.
Yeah,
So the whole thing's really
weird.
bizarre.
I think we're just a
Um,
testing ground
yeah.
to see if
Um,
anybody would take notice, and we did. We took notice.
in saying that as well, there's very good chance that the tariffs that Trump has been putting on everybody could affect some of the theatrical releases, at least in the states, for some upcoming anime releases. Chainsaw Man,
Yeah.
Demon Slayer, I think Jujutsu Kaisen, and there's a couple of others that are meant to be. I think there's a new. I mean, both Mamoru Hosoda and Shinkai are always working on something. Um, but even, like, I remember hearing Ghibli's name pop up. So I think
Hmm.
it's going to potentially hurt everybody. And Trump's been wanting more just film in general to be back in the States as well. So it's an interesting ripple effect.
Yeah. Yeah, it is going to be interesting. And I think we're going to see more I mean, not to say that Australia doesn't already see an enormous amount of international material, but I feel like we're going to start seeing even more and a lot less American material coming through. So I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to affect the likes of like Netflix and stuff like that, and how they're going to manage this. They could just become a Canadian company. Start trading over there instead.
Eh?
Eh?
It's really bad.
It'd be,
I mean,
yeah.
it's kind of. I mean, you got French Canada, so it's kind of related. By way of which I say it's not related at all. I finished watching Asterix and Obelisk. It was really
Oh,
fun.
yeah. Yeah, I haven't. It's there. I've got it sitting there. It's my next thing I'm going to press a button on, because I'm pretty keen to have a look. It's
It's
been a
a
little while
nice
since I watched one.
little condensed 5 episode run. Roughly about like half an hour, 40 minutes
Nice,
average.
nice.
Really nice 3D animation.
Yeah, I did notice it was
Yeah.
a soft 3D
Yeah.
uh,
Um
work.
it kind of like it gives like a lot of Pixar DreamWorks sort of vibe,
Yeah, yeah, okay.
but with its own flair.
Feel.
It's just
Yeah,
that like that sort of animation style is kind of or that feel.
yeah. Look, it's the original art style lends itself really well to be converted to a 3D format. I think a lot of the original work was very shape driven, I guess, and
Yeah.
so to translate that over to a 3D world is a little bit easier than something that's finer and more detailed. The cartoony side of things definitely helps, and the fact that they've lent completely into 3D, like they haven't pretended to be anything different. It's just a really well finished design and look. So I'm
It's
keen to delve into.
French animation studio.
Yep.
Uh really really cool. Netflix has done rolled out a dubbing for pretty much everywhere. Uh
Nice.
it's not really noticeable. Um they've done a pretty good job dubbing it. In episode 2 it's pretty noticeable. That's when I was like, "Oh, it's French." Oh, I didn't even realize.
What do you mean?
Like
It's Asterix and Obelix. Of course, it's French.
I know, I know. I didn't know, like pay any attention to any of the like credits that were popping up on the screen because there's
Yeah.
just so much happens in that first episode. Um, and yeah, I was just like Caesar's talking and his mouth flaps are not matching up with what's being said. I'm just like, oh, and like all the credits are popping up. I'm like, ah, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. You didn't have your subtitles on?
I think I did as well.
I've
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
so I can
noticed a
hear
few
it.
times while I've been watching anime on Netflix where the subtitles are different to the
Yeah.
audio track.
So usually the ones that are done by Netflix are pretty spot on.
Yeah,
Um, Generally, it's ones that are subbed. Generally, I'm assuming it's by Crunchyroll, and then it's like almost sub leased out to Netflix.
yeah,
I guess that's how it works. Because yeah, I noticed. I think it was for Witch Watch. The sub was pretty much the same between both of them.
yeah.
Um, Same for the dub as well. So there must be a production company maybe even a third party that's doing it for both. I don't know.
Yeah, we've had a few instances where we've had 2 dubs, haven't we? Where Crunchy's done one and Netflix has done one. So
Vinland Saga, I think, is the one that comes to mind as the most recent. I think it was season 1.
yeah.
I think the Netflix one's the one I preferred, and that's the one that they
I
ended
would
up.
say that they did second.
I think
that,
so.
Yeah, they did it second time round, because it was a few years before it hit Netflix. I think it was about 2 years before it hit Netflix.
I can't remember, man.
It's a few years ago. A few years ago.
There's actually a Dragon Ball 40th anniversary box set, complete set, which is like this big.
Wait, which part of Dragon Ball?
All of it.
And wait, the anime or the manga?
The manga.
Manga.
It looks like it's all of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, essentially.
No. That thing would be enormous.
42 books.
I feel like it should be more than that.
Yeah.
Like the original Dragon Ball run that we know it as, over in our English-speaking world, there's Dragon Ball, and there's Dragon Ball Z, and there's Dragon Ball Super, but over in Japan, it's all Dragon Ball.
Well, I think Super's the
most recent.
I think it's split off. So I think it's Dragon Ball, which is like all of it up until the Super split. And I think Super's its own property now. Even in Japan, I think.
Oh yeah, it was because Toriyama had a big gap between Super and the original storyline.
Yeah, I'm not like super up to date with the goss on Dragon Ball.
But I feel like it should be more than those books. Like
the covers that they were doing.
Yeah,
it's for that. It's all 42 of those. We've been over this before, Logan.
Wait. Let me think. Like his run when he was his younger self up to when he first meets Piccolo, sort of when Piccolo was evil, that sort of space, I think was about 13, 14 books. So yeah, that checks out. 42. That's a big box.
It does feel like it should be a bit bigger, but
yeah,
that's a lot of books.
Yeah, I feel like I need it. Like one of those boxes is what, 12, 13?
It's 2 of those.
Yeah. Or are they 20?
Up to box set 2 is 46 volumes. So okay. It's about 2.
Yeah, I want it.
It's huge. And I don't think it's double stacked either. It looks like it's just one through 42.
It's got 2 handles on top.
Like, it looks cool, but it also looks kind of ridiculous because of how like obscenely long it is.
It's not some ridiculous AI generated image, is it? You got something up? Show me. Show me your goods.
No. Share this tab.
I want to see this ridiculously long. Wow, that's a long box.
It's huge.
I just
and it's going to be 31,000 yen, nearly 32,000. That seems really cheap.
$318.
I mean,
when I say that, it doesn't seem. I mean, it's 42 books. It calculates
one of those is 300.
Yeah.
That should be about. I reckon it's going to be like $600 easily Australian.
Yeah. Once it hits us, it'll be 1,000. That's, we mark everything up too much. Still makes me want one though.
I know, it looks really cool. Like, got all damn books.
That's a lot of reading, and it's good reading. Yeah. This is the thing. It's a classic for a reason. It's not. Oh, they got dust covers on them too.
And I think the dust covers are the alternate art covers that this is what
even better. So you get both the original and the new artwork.
I think that looks so like good. What it is.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So this
makes me so happy.
Dragon Ball without the filler. We've got to remember this is just pure action, non-stop ride. This thing, it's so good. I don't know how much. I don't know how much of it you've read, but it is such a good read.
Not a lot, to be honest. I've read. I want to read more Dragon Ball. Like I know a lot. I know Dragon Ball Z. Like that was what I grew up on. I know all of that shit. I know scattered bits of Dragon Ball from catching it on Adult Swim reruns.
Man, I wish we had Adult Swim here.
I mean, we did.
I could just.
It was like it was all tied in through Odstar, like through Cartoon Network and stuff.
Oh yeah, but it never get all of it though.
I didn't like. I don't like that scheduled TV anymore. Anyway, I'll watch it when I want to watch it. Let me.
Give me the juice. I want the juice, but I want the juice.
I don't know what this is, but I feel like I need to share it with you all. This is Kyosuke Usata World Exhibition Key Visual. This event will commemorate Sexy Commander Gaiden Sugoyo 30th anniversary and Flute Blower Jaguar 25th anniversary, which is the leading into that new series that he's got coming out as well. I didn't recognize it.
Has that series hasn't started yet, has it?
No.
Okay.
We got Machi and Oboro has ended with chapter 26.
Yep.
Fourth and final volume will be out July 4th. Getaway Matsumoto will be ending with chapter 27 on May 17th, which is this one.
Bikes. That's such a weird looking image.
And Ichi the Witch has volume 3 cover.
Okay. Maybe I should give that a read. It's quite popular.
I really want to get into it's like pretty much, if nothing else disturbs me, once I finish Witch Hat Atelier, which is what I'm currently gassing, as the kids say. I think I used that correctly.
Okay, so Ichi the Witch is pulling 105k reads. Kagurabachi's got 186. So it's doing pretty well.
Witch Hat Atelier, really, really good. I'm like 6 books in. It's really cute. It's got dark undertones, which balances everything out, like salty and sweet. Like having maple syrup with your bacon. It's like cute, fun dopamine. It's got like Spy Family sort of vibes, and then body horror slipping in.
Just give you those nightmares.
They got so there's like two faction of witches because magic has been outlawed after humans went crazy on it and broke the world. You know, that old chestnut. We can't be trusted with anything. They don't even have healing magic. The only magic that is allowed to be performed on a human is memory wiping to keep the secrets of magic from getting out and continuing the previous cycle. So magic is solely now for the good and betterment of humankind, and well, actually, just the world in general. And there seems to be a lot of politics going on behind the scenes, just internally in the witches stuff. And then you've got the chaotic faction of the brimmed caps, which are the ones that have like the traditional witch's hat, where everyone else is referred to as a pointed cap, which they just have like basically a dunce's cap, whereas everyone else has like the brim.
Which leads to some very impressive hats, no doubt.
I sent you that one of the main girl as imagined as a brimmed cap, because she's been influenced into the world of magic by a brimmed cap and is now being taught magic by the pointed caps, who felt it would be unfair, and also they would lose a lead to the brimmed caps if her memory were to be wiped after she turned her mum to stone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that's a good start.
So it's got like a little bit of FMA vibes to it as well.
Yeah,
it's probably it feels more like if you really wanted to like boil it down into the genre groupings like they do in Japan. Full Metal is the shonen version, and Witch Hat Atelier is the shoujo version.
Yeah. Okay.
100%. But oh, dude, the art is fucking gorgeous, and the paneling. You get so spoiled with the paneling. Some of them are just outstanding pieces of like framing, just in themselves.
Yeah, they do like these really elaborate picture frame style framing around the images, which is kind of, I guess, reminiscent of 90s shoujo sort of stuff, where they went really elaborate on pages to make it look more decorative and pretty.
It even like makes it feels at home as well, because everything feels so magical and fairy tale like. In that vein of like your grim fairy tales and whatnot. It's really cool.
Nice.
And speaking of grim fairy tales, we have a previous I was gonna say fan favorite of the show. Whatever.
Essentially.
Red Hood creator is back with new series. I've forgotten the full title.
Tear of the Flame.
It is just of the Flame?
Yeah. Okay. Of the Flame.
I kept mixing up the theming of like the fire and ice, because they mentioned that a few times.
Yeah, they do talk about it a lot, because I think it seems to be a major component.
Yeah.
To the power system or the power dynamic that's going to be happening. I'm really psyched, man.
So am I, dude.
It's got me so psyched.
First chapter.
Not just that, but it cracked 200k views. Like it's on Dandadan and Sakamoto level of views, and I think his fandom has been waiting for this. We've been waiting for him to come back, because it went out in such a rock star kind of way last time.
I mean, we were kind of surprised that he got signed with Jump
Yeah.
again.
Or that he even decided to come back, for that matter, because I mean, if he had voiced his concerns and problems and they've agreed to go, okay, we understand where you're at, we'd like to get you back on board again. Yeah, that's completely understandable, as long as all those doors were still open and people were happy to listen. Which I can
I
imagine
want
would
to know.
happen.
I would like to know what the sales numbers for Red Hood are.
I'm sure they're going to shoot up now.
I'm wondering if maybe they already have, and that's helped him solidify himself with a little bit more oomph behind him.
I would say that they have maintained a consistency in popularity, and they've turned around and gone, okay, this guy can sell books. We can get with that.
I still need to get my copy of, is it book 3? There was 3, wasn't there?
I thought there was 4. Was there only 3? I felt like
the
last little bit went forever. The little training arc part.
Because Aliens Airy did the same thing, where the last couple of chapters were essentially gate kept to the physical release.
Just double check that. But getting back to this, this is everything I was hoping would happen. But at the same time, Red Hood also had an absolutely amazing start. Like, straight out of the gate, that thing was phenomenal, and hit hard straight away. He's done the same with this.
See, and I think for Red Hood, that first tank was practically perfect. Yeah. It was everything post chapter 7.
Yeah,
where it started. It started to kind of wobble, but it didn't feel like it was. It honestly felt like there was editor meddling.
Yeah.
At least at the time. Whether or not that's the case, who knows? But
no, we'll never really know until we ask the question. But
it ran 18 chapters total.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Way shorter than I remember.
Yeah. 3 volumes.
Made an impact in those 3 volumes.
Also, just the Rockstar mic drop in that last book. So oh my god.
And from an average reader's perspective, they wouldn't know that was a mic drop. It also would just look like a rushed end.
It felt very emotional and visceral. Yeah. It didn't feel like that. The last couple of chapters felt like it was a direct conversation to the publisher, basically saying that you've killed this universe, you've killed these characters, you've killed this story.
Yeah.
You've killed a piece of me.
Yeah.
And without allowing it to grow.
It was actually quite rough to read at the time.
Yeah.
Like when it was all happening, you're right, it was very visceral at the time. I imagine if I read it again now, it probably wouldn't be as intense, but knowing all the things that were going on and all the series that were being canned when they really shouldn't have been canned at that period of time.
I still can't believe it got canned. I still miss Phantom Seer. Oh.
That's another one people scream for as well. So
these were the 2 that kind of broke me. They kind of almost happened around the same time, and I was just like, I don't. My little heart can't take it anymore. Fuck the manga industry. Reading manga. Can't
help myself. Got to keep reading. Got to keep the habit going.
It was was more fuck Jump at that time.
Yeah, and it was that period of time where the editors seemed to be very heavy-handed in trying to control and manipulate the stories in a direction. And
It
there was a lot
felt
of newbies.
checklisty.
Yeah,
Like, this is what a Shonen Jump needs to have. Tick, tick, tick. Whether
yeah.
or not it felt conducive to the
You
story or not.
need to include these tropes, and it needs to have these things. Uh, and you could tell when he started to lean into that material component of the production that it felt so forced and it felt so uncomfortable reading it, that it must have been so painful for him for those weeks.
Yeah.
You know, that 6 weeks of having to work on a title that you loved, but you can't produce the love that you wanted to produce because it's being tortured essentially at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can only imagine that would be rough as hell.
It does feel like he hasn't strayed too far from his Gaelic
Yeah,
interests. Shifted. I mean, there's a lot of overlap anyway, but it kind of
yeah.
feels a little bit more Norse than Gaelic
Yeah,
this time.
it's definitely shifted north, on this one, uh, which is kinda
But
cool. I like the Viking style vibe.
mm,
And we see quite a bit of world building in the first chapter, uh, which, it shows that this is not Earth. That it's not our history as we know it.
yeah,
It's a variation of.
I like the fact that he's still very much in love with stories,
Mm,
and how much a forefront stories and sagas as a concept and um, conveyance of ideas, and how important that is to us as humans, hasn't strayed, because that was part of the meta aspect of the end of Red Hood as well. Um,
yeah,
and the relationship between him and his sister about the sagas that he reiterates almost from knowledge, from memory. But the ones that he finds the most exciting are the ones where the hero succeeds and goes on a long adventure, which feels like a promise to the reader, to the publisher, to himself, and I'm really hopeful for this
yeah,
one.
yeah. It's got everything that it needs.
Mm.
It's already, it's already shown. You're right in by laying out that idea of a saga, something bigger than just a small story and a small character. He's looking to portray something on a much bigger scale, and from all the tropiness I got from this story, like it's definitely shonen. Like he's gone back to the drawing board and he's gone, okay, so I've seen what they wanted and I saw the path that I was passing down. How do I need to like cross those over so they work together? And it's clear he's gone back and read other titles and gone through more successful titles and broken down what they've done and why people love them.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is like the ignition point. I'm not saying that he's going to follow down the same paths as everyone else. What I'm saying is that he's started a journey that looks like it's going to be the same as everybody else. He's in for the long haul to make it go for a longer period of time than what he previously did, and not stray from the shonen path as such.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so excited. I Can't understate. Also, the opening pages were gorgeous.
Always beautiful colors and imagery that's happening on here. God, his artwork is so good.
It is so. It has like a almost like a chibi aspect to it, and it's probably just because
Yeah, his kids' faces. Yeah, his kids' faces seem to have that sort of chibi vibe to them.
But then you get stuff like this.
Yeah. And that's like something like that's his Oda coming out. He's clearly a One Piece fan, loving those big ensemble sort of style panels. We're starting to see that as well. For all those people out there wondering, going, well, am I going to like this? Is this the kind of thing I'm into?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is, and it's the series that's probably most like it at the moment, I would say, is Black Clover.
Yeah.
At this starting point.
It's also reminding me a lot of Icehead Gill. That was what it was called, wasn't it?
Is that because there's a lot of snow?
It's 100% the theming. Like the theming location, character-wise, like not at all.
No.
I like this. I like Otia. I think that's how you say his name. We were trying to figure that out before we went live.
There's a lot of different ways you can say it. And I believe the old Norse way of saying it is Orts.
Oh, cool.
With a Z instead of an R.
Totally would have got that.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no way of telling.
And like off one chapter, we don't really have enough to kind of really go, yeah, and it's 100% a Norse thing because there's a lot of overlap as well between the Gaelic and all of that area.
Yeah, an elf. I mean, dude's an elf, right? It's a dark elf.
Forgot, yeah.
So there's a lot of mythology going on here.
Also, I really, really love the magic system that they're kind of setting up between the bonding of the spirit that he essentially birthed from giving part of his soul to the fire. So cool.
It's a great concept. I love the idea of old magic. Like, you know, you can get structured and new and refined magic, but compared to a magic that was based on essence, it's a different thing. And I like the idea, you're right, of becoming one with what he has. Yeah, he bound to it, or it bound to him, one or the other. But the precursor, the conversation about how breath is a part of the soul.
There was a lot of really good groundwork and foreshadowing that came full circle. Like I was trying to switch off the analytical side of my brain while I was reading it. I was doing my best and just I really was trying not to analyze the difference, but it was hard not to because it is such improvement as well. Like just his art has refined even further. The structure and beats to the story all hits very well. Not one point in this first chapter was I bored or wanting to put it down. It just drags you through quite briskly in a very nice pace.
Yes, though you do get to the end and go, "Where's more? More
seconds?"
Which is good. You know, that's a great thing to have.
I love the him embodying the Norse tradition, being male and wanting to fight, and
Yeah.
die and go to Valhalla, but everyone around him being all like, "Bro, you're 10."
Yeah. Just stoke the fire. Come on.
What are you doing? And they all are so encouraging, between not necessarily like putting him in a box, but reiterating to him that everyone has their place on the battlefield, and just because he doesn't have a sword in hand doesn't mean that his fight is any less important to the people leading the charge. His job is to keep everyone fed and healthy and keep the fires lit. If those fires go out, they're screwed. If they don't have enough food or nourishment, then they're screwed. And so the head commander basically tells him to do
Be
his
happy.
job.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
essentially. Be part of the team.
but like play to your strengths.
And
Which
not just
was
that, but she was stating that the battle's not just on the battlefield. By
yeah,
keeping the fires lit, by keeping people fed and fighting, it meant his battle was on the forefront in that area. So if he died while doing that, technically Valhalla, because he was fighting his battle. Um, was the little speech that she gave him.
because
Uh,
he throughout the whole chapter he's talking about essentially dying a warrior's death, having a
yeah.
stipend go to his sister so that she'd be taken care of.
Oh, I love that little
Um,
harken back to his sister requesting for him not to die for the cause.
yeah,
To,
all of
to
that
yeah,
so well crafted to give us the like, as much as I love the sacrificial hero, it's nice to have a hero ready to give their all, not just at the expense of like their own body. Like it was refreshing when Deku did it, but we've had like 10 years of My Hero now.
yeah.
So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of like people around you being like, you don't have to be so self-destructive
Yeah.
just to support the people around you, which I think is a very, very good message, to be pushing to young boys and
Yeah.
just people in general, really. But
But this is shonen, so
yeah,
that's the market it's aimed at, and that's
um,
primarily who's going to be reading it. But this is a very good first chapter.
yeah,
Very, very
nothing
good
but
start.
praise.
And so happy. Oh man, I couldn't have asked for a better start.
I'm so happy
Honestly.
that he's back.
Yeah. Stoked.
Oh, that's right. We have some really cool like vivisections going on too.
Yeah. The action is so brief, which is
But
something I
it
absolutely
slapped
love. It
really.
hits hard and fast, and it's like 2 or 3 panels. It doesn't need to be pages upon pages of destruction. It just bang. And oh my god, seeing that on the page, I was just like, so nice.
You
So
know,
nice.
it could just be my bias, because I am obsessed with Brandon Sanderson, but it kind of gives me like a little bit of like anime Stormlight vibes. Just a little bit, like the whole bonding of a spirit, having what looks like a flame blade
You're
somewhere
thinking
between like
someone's been
no,
listening
no,
to a few seminars?
maybe.
Is yeah? Well, I'm just wondering whether he's done the same, considering his improvement of story structure um
Yeah,
and interest. There is a possibility that he's actually
true.
gone back and gone through that stuff. And being a fantasy artist himself and a fantasy writer, it would not be silly for him to have done that. And Sanderson has some absolutely amazing YouTube videos on
Oh
story
yeah,
structures and storytelling.
he's
Because
got 2 separate lectures up on his YouTube channel for free now.
Yeah.
One's just wrapped up, I believe, this year.
Yeah. So it's very likely that he may have been very heavily concentrating on his storytelling techniques over the past couple of years, which is paid off.
It really gives that
really
epic fantasy vibe, but like new fantasy. Like I'm talking within the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
There seems to be a bit of like a noticeable trend that you can kind of see with fantasy as like a whole.
You honestly couldn't tell from that image alone whether that was a fantasy or a sci-fi.
No.
Like it could have been
that's
either.
like with Stormlight, that's what it kind of feels like. Like it sometimes feels like it dips over into sci-fi a little bit more than fantasy, even though it's knights and swords, even though the swords are embodiments of concepts that can cut through anything, like a lightsaber.
Yeah,
it's like a light claymore instead of a lightsaber.
Yeah, everybody likes that idea. So this is it's just gorgeous all around. It really is.
Yeah, I mean it could also be a reverse influencing, because like Brandon was very influenced by the oversized characters in JRPGs, so oversized weapons with characters in JRPGs. So yeah, there could be a bit of cross pollination both ways as well.
Definitely.
But, so much fun. I love this series so much already.
One chapter in and we're just like, nah, that's it.
Yeah, fully glazed, gassing it up. Peak cinema.
People have been wanting to know what is going to be the next big 3 or 4 that's hitting. I'm calling it.
Please don't let me be wrong about this.
I'm gonna go over and burn Shueisha down if this does not hit. The thing is, though, is that you got to understand the level of their confidence in this series. They've placed this on a Monday, which is their big release day. They've also been advertising it quite heavily. They've given it some big color pages
for it already.
Yeah, they're really, really bringing this one home, and I think they have a lot of confidence in the story and where it's heading, because they would know exactly where it's going.
The flame work is gorgeous.
Character design is wild.
That too. I really, really, really like the design for the little sprite as well.
You cannot get any more shonen than that shot.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, she's super cute.
Yep. It hits all the marks, and it hits them so well and so beautifully that that's it. That's it for the year.
Yeah. Also, I had a look. The Phantom Seer and Red Hood literally like ended months apart.
Yeah.
Phantom Seer got like 30 chapters, but still, it's it just makes the hurt more.
And it's. I feel like
it ended so confusingly as well.
It was a combination of editors and possibly the way they advertised the work, because they calculate the popularity on Tunk sales. I guess if they don't drive home that this is, a new fantastic series, then the sales aren't going to happen. And I'm not saying that they don't do that, but you don't know how much of it they're doing compared to the stuff that actually sort of passes through. You just can't work out what's going to be popular and what's not as well. I reckon Red Hood hit harder overseas than it did locally. is the other thing.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm most worried about with anything that tackles any mythology outside of Japan. It either hits incredibly well or not at all. There's no in between. And like I made reference a couple of times to Icehead Gill. It, I mean, it had a lot of its own issues, but just theming wise, it could have taken off quite well, and
it could have done very well. I feel like the world building in Icehead Gill was really good, and it was
yeah,
very interesting. The characters were really interesting. I felt like the story was scattered though. There wasn't a lot of structure to the way things were happening, where they were going, and what was happening in the bigger arc of things. And
yeah,
that comes down to mangaka and editor as well. Like
yeah.
that's a team effort. When things are not going in the direction that they're meant to, the editor's meant to go, "Hey, can we pull it back over in that direction?" And then
Rein it in,
so on and so
please.
forth. Yeah, definitely.
Which probably should have happened a lot more to Oda.
You can't.
We might not have 1,000 chapters if
You can't, because the editor for One Piece, he works for Oda. He doesn't work for the company. That guy works for Oda. It's the other way around. So it's like I've seen articles and stuff that have literally said that Oda has told his editors, you sleep with your phone on your chest and you are to be willing to die
willing
for
to die
One
for
Piece
One Piece.
with a straight face. Like, this guy is dead set. This is happening. Either you're on
Like
the ride or you're off the ride. It's not.
it's not ride or die. It's ride
Yeah,
and die.
yeah, exactly. So you have to be there for me every step of the way whenever I need you to. Because my sleep schedule is whatever I want it to be. Yours is whatever I want it to be.
match my
uh,
energy.
yeah. So, and that's why he's gotten away with it so much, because he is the king of
I mean,
all these big shonen series.
you can't argue the fact that he is the biggest mangaka
No,
of
no, I
this
can't
age.
argue that. I can't argue it.
Unfortunately, just because of numbers alone. Um, I don't know where I was going with that.
It's you're just trying to defend him because I was trying to tear him down.
Huh.
No, no, no. I'd never tear Oda down. I can't. It's impossible. Yeah. So that's
I mean, so
Okia.
long as
If
he
you
sticks to
haven't,
landing, right?
yeah, he'll be like, here's the last few chapters. I'm piecing out. Put me in the ground now. And then everybody reads the last 3 chapters, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
We made along the Oda, you said you wouldn't.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Fakes his own death and
There's a
reads the last 3
few
chapters.
there's a few videos in the like One Piece community talking about all the stories about his editors and stuff. If you're interested, they're a good watch. The amount of influence an editor can have on the series, even one such as One Piece, is astounding. Like some of the most iconic moments were last minute editor additions, or an editor saying, "Hey, wouldn't it be funny if?" and then Oda going, "Yeah, it would be," and then just running with it.
Well, an editor should be someone that you can bounce ideas from,
Yeah,
that can collaborate with you to, produce, which is why editors are so important, right? And that's why they have their name on the title along with the mangaka. It's a collaboration of people. So yeah, it would be understandable for the editors to be just as involved as
I
Oda is.
mean, Shanks wasn't going to lose an arm at the start of the series. The first editor was like, "No, you need to spice it up a little bit." So he's like, "All
Let's
right,
make this interesting. Let's have some actual stakes." I
So
think that's
now,
probably
like retrospectively looking back, it doesn't make sense for someone as powerful as Shanks to have lost an arm to something.
at the time period, though. We've got to remember at
Yes,
the time
yes. That's why I
period,
said,
and
looking back now, it's funny because it doesn't scale properly, but that's
doesn't it?
the crux of running
How
it. No,
powerful was
not at all.
Shanks at that period of time?
Pretty powerful. He was already
Was
an
he?
emperor.
Because that fish thing's like one of the kings of the sea or some shit like that.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
like such a non-issue. Like even post like post time skip, it's a non-issue for the Straw Hats. Like
All right.
the yeah. um, it it's just one of those things. It's a 25-year running series. Like it,
Yeah.
and everything's got to exponentially go up. So
it would have been easier just to say at that period of time he didn't have the power to defeat him,
I
but now
mean,
he does.
a cool way to go about it would be like, oh, it was a manipulative at thing to throw Luffy on this path.
It was a tool to try and push Luffy to becoming a pirate.
Could have been. Anyway, we're getting super sidetracked. I want to talk about I don't remember. Yeah, there was something else you wanted to talk about, wasn't there?
Oh, was there? No, OTO was like my big thing this week.
Maybe. Oh, we were talking a bit about To Be Hero X.
Yeah, we did have a little conversation about that, didn't we?
So it's not going to be really spoilers at all. So the first 5 episodes are out. The first 3 episodes are at this stage are contained story, just as the episode 4 and 5 are a contained story, which I'm assuming will interlink as we're getting background information on all the characters vying for the number 1 hero position. So far, with this chunk of episodes out, I feel like they should have done it the other way around and had episode 4 and 5 as episode 1 and 2, just because the way that they world build, the way that they set up all of the trust value and how that kind of works a little bit more.
Better explained in those 2 episodes. So them explaining how the world works, the trust system, the sheer volume of pressure, the sneakiness in the industry. You know, you get more information in those 2 episodes than you do out of the 4 in the other one. I honestly, wish they'd focused on this guy initially and made him the MC because he's so much more interesting than the other guy.
So far, like, don't get me wrong, first 3 episodes were great. There's you actually hit the nail on the head. This is a superhero soap opera, and oh my god, they are hitting so many of the like soap opera tropes that I'm kind of getting whiplash with. Like, oh, there's a character that's dead one episode and then they're not the next, and then they are again, and
and the level of cliffhangers that they keep producing, people are getting sick of it. Like you read the comments, and they're just like, I am a little bit tired of these cliffhanger episodes. Can we have a little bit of resolve? Can we have an episode where things aren't just left on a cliffhanger. And I'm just like, I understand this. This is how, manhwa and all that sort of stuff works. Is it's because it's week to week, and they want the people to keep coming back. They do cliffhangers, and soap operas operate the exact same way. They left things on cliffhangers to make you keep coming back to watch the next episode. That's just how they're designed. And I think it's starting to hit people. They're just like, wait a minute, this is not what I thought it was. It's disguised as something else, but at its core, it's a soap opera.
Which seems to be deconstructing the concept of hero worship quite literally.
Yeah.
Which I'm really enjoying so far. The ending to the last episode though, which I won't go into what actually happens. Just the timing of the thing. So the character has like a super speed essentially, and something happens and everything just kind of feels off because it thematically makes a good shot and a good scene. But when you stop to think about it for a second, like, oh, he's got super speed, he should have been able to get there, and also that other person shouldn't have been able to get to from point A to point B and drive off in the time that it took for him to get there. It's very confusing. I hope that it's keeps up the quality that it's been doing so far. I don't want to be disappointed.
If they keep jumping from character to character, we might see some much more intriguing stories float up. Timeline wise, this should definitely have been placed at the start, as we see repeat characters that we know are going to either go mad or go do something different.
Actually, I forgot about that.
Portrayed completely differently in these two episodes, so which puts them in the timeline that it's back before the other arc happens. Which makes
I think this could even be a precursor to Nice.
Well, it might be a precursor to who is the number one persons at the moment, because it hasn't really sort of fleshed that out.
No, there's so many characters in the OP, and like we've seen like 3.
Yeah, exactly right. So there's so much more to come, and I feel like that they're going to keep this series running for longer than one season. It's gonna run for a little bit longer, especially considering its popularity.
We're getting a lot of interesting and highly produced, spectacularly animated animations coming out of China at the moment. It's definitely
they've been doing it for years.
Ones to watch. No, I know, but they're like really hitting the next level, and like even if it's just in terms of being seen by a broader audience.
Which is fine. And Chihiro X, it's done a very, very good job of being original, and like it's an anime, but it's not. It's not really.
It hits all the same beats.
Kind of, but not. Like it's more
realistically like we're getting into the semantics of what an anime is now.
I know, but what I'm saying is it's more like a Chinese soap opera that's been produced by or with influence from an American company.
What's the American company?
No, I'm not saying there was one. I'm just saying it just has that American superhero vibe that sits in there, which gives it that kind of borderline boys style.
I was kind of surprised when you told me it was Chinese. I actually thought it was for sure just another manhwa property.
It kind of is, but it's an original.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the other thing about the series is it's not based on something. It's an original product.
The other series that are kind of loose.
Yeah. Oh, it's all in the same world, I believe. Yeah, but years apart.
All right. Well, I think that's going to be us for today. Thank you for joining us for episode 92 of Manga News, brought to you by Read This Way. That's been some of the news, our thoughts and opinions. Would love to hear what you guys think about all the things that we talked about in this episode. So leave some comments down below. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, all the other YouTube bullshit. And I've been Brad.
And I've been Logan.
And make sure to catch us every 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday at the time that I just said.
Yeah.
Why?
More